Today we are going to be talking about why I switched from PlayStation consoles to Xbox consoles and why I will be staying with Xbox. Let's get into it. What is up guys, welcome back to yet another Major Ben video here on the channel. I do hope you guys are having a fantastic day and that you're enjoying the content that I've been working on recently. If you have, then please do consider pressing the like button because it really does help me out, and if you are new, do consider subscribing as well. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. So today we are going to be talking about the many generations of PlayStation and Xbox and how I've always been a kind of PlayStation guy and now I'm suddenly switching to the Xbox as my main platform. Now I do want to say straight away that I'm not a fanboy of either. As I'm saying in this intro here, I used to only play PlayStation. I had the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4 and now 5, and during the generation of PS4 and Xbox One I switched to Xbox. So I want to talk about why I did that and why I'm glad I did as well. So there is no insult to one platform or another here. I'm just giving my honest opinion on these two consoles and why I use Xbox as my main one. I do also have a PS5 as well, by the way, just so I can say that before some people start commenting, oh, you've not even tried PlayStation 5. I do have both PS5 and Series X, so I'm very non-biased here. I love both platforms to bits, but I just want to give my honest opinions of which one I prefer. So anyway, going all the way back to the PlayStation 1, this console was my very first console when I was young. From what I remember, it was my dad that bought this, and I used to play on it with him when I was young, and it was amazing. This was my first experience into gaming. We did swiftly move on to the PlayStation 2 though, as this came out very shortly after we'd actually bought our PlayStation 1. The PlayStation 2 is where things really kicked off for me. I have the fondest and best memories in gaming ever. Playing Star Wars Battlefront with my friends and my nephew for hours after school was just one of the best things to happen in my life. This game was the best, by the way. If you haven't played Star Wars Battlefront 2 that was a PS2 launch, do check it out if you've still got a PlayStation 2 or a PSP even, because it is on there as well. It's just an absolutely fantastic game. Also, my first Ratchet and Clank game as well was on the PlayStation 2, which by the way is one of my favorite gaming series of all time and always will be. Also, I remember playing all of the Harry Potter games, like the actual story mode Harry Potter games on PlayStation 2. They were so great and I have some amazing memories playing those there as well. They're just such good times for me that sometimes I even go back and watch gameplay on YouTube of these games because it just makes me happy to look back on all this incredible stuff. Now, during the cycle of the PlayStation 2, shortly after, in fact 1 year after, the first Xbox launched. Now I never actually owned one, but at the boarding school I went to later on in my life, I did actually get to play one there because we did have one, and I must say it wasn't as good as the PlayStation 2 at all, and back then it was very much looked upon as a less superior platform. Then we go on to the PS3, and this is when I was actually old enough to understand the tech and be interested in it enough to keep an eye out on the platforms and decide which ones were better. Now I always look back on this as a bit of a mistake now, but unfortunately it's just what happened. So to me it came down to what my friends were playing at the time between the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3, and I went with the PlayStation 3. All my friends were playing on PlayStation and it was the best platform for me to get, as I wouldn't have been able to play with any of them if I bought the Xbox, as there was no cross-platform back then. The reason I do say I regret this is because after these purchases I started watching a lot of the Digital Foundry videos that were coming out at the time of comparisons between Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and in many cases the Xbox was outperforming the PlayStation 3 despite it actually having less power than the PlayStation 3, and this was because of how easy the Xbox was to develop games for compared to Sony's PlayStation 3. I mean, the PS3 was one of the hardest consoles to develop for ever. It's actually insane. But the other reason I regret all this is because all the games I have on PS3 now can't be played on my PS5, for example, whereas most of the games, if owned on Xbox 360, would have been able to run the same or if not better on the Series X with its clever back compat boost modes that enable higher frame rates and resolutions. But still, during this generation it was a blast. The games were great and I've made some great friends and had some fantastic times and memories from all of this. As you can see, up to this time I loved the PlayStation platform and I was a massive fan of it. I absolutely adored PlayStation and all their amazing amazing games and all the systems that were just great. Then came the launch of PlayStation 4 and the Xbox. Now, we all know which one I got this time, right? Now, I mean, how easy of a decision is it, right? I got the Xbox, guys. Not what you were expecting, right? No, me neither. I seem to have got every single console launch backwards. All my friends at the time of this launch were either switching to Xbox or were sticking with Xbox. Bear in mind, all these friends were different from the last launch. I mean, guys, it was like 8 to 10 years apart from the PS3 launch. So a lot of the friends that I had that were on PlayStation, I wasn't friends with anymore. And now it was friends that played Xbox as their main console. Despite the Xbox performing far lower than the PlayStation and having less games, I still went with Microsoft's platform. Now, many years later, I'm actually pretty happy with this decision, as all of the games that I purchased during this generation I'm still able to play, and many of them I can actually play at better resolutions and better frame rates. And also, I might add, higher resolutions and frame rates compared to the PlayStation 5 versions that have boosts as well. This console generation was not the best though. The Jaguar cores inside the Xbox and PlayStation of this generation were outdated even at the time of launch. This made for mostly 30 FPS games, which was really disappointing. Then came the beefed up version of the consoles, the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro. This was where I was really happy to be on the Xbox platform. The Xbox One X ran games native 4K in some cases, where the PS4 Pro would only run some of these games at 1440p. Unfortunately though, these consoles really didn't improve the frame rates at all. They were mainly here as a resolution boost. They still used the crappy Jaguar cores, so just there was no improvements to frame rates at all. But still, the console generation was great. We really got amazing looking games. Some games were 60 FPS on the One X, like the Gears games obviously, and they just looked fantastic. So that was a really good time actually. And this now leads us on to now, which is where I'm so glad that I am on the Xbox platform. Like, don't get me wrong guys, I love my PlayStation 5 and I'm so happy I have one. Like, again, as I've always said, the games on PlayStation 5 are fantastic. There isn't really many PS5 exclusives that I actually don't like right now, and there are also so many good games coming for PlayStation as well. But that is the same for Series X too. Although there hasn't been many new Series X games, I have had an amazing time replaying games because of things like the boosted resolution, higher frame rates, and auto HDR as well. And there are some games that I've waited from last generation to play on this generation, as I know there was going to be upgrades to come. So although I haven't necessarily been playing brand new games on my Series X, I have been playing games that are new to me, with greatly improved visuals and frame rates.
But Ben, this is the same on PlayStation 5, so your point is completely irrelevant.
Well, little Timmy, I'm glad you said that, because this leads me on to my main point, Game Pass. I have played over 10 games on Game Pass since the launch of Xbox Series X, all with boosts in either frame rate or resolution, or both in many cases. This is not something you can do on PlayStation 5. I would have had to have owned copies of these games on PlayStation to be able to play these, which would have cost me hundreds of pounds. On top of this, most of the games that I played on my Xbox Series X that are enhanced don't even have enhancements on the PlayStation 5. So literally, this is incredible. Then on top of this, there are so many games that perform so much better on the Series X now than PlayStation 5. Yes, PlayStation 5 games were performing better at the start of this generation, but now the devs are actually getting used to the tools. The Series X is outperforming PS5 in way more games now than the PS5 is on Series X. And this is just the start. The truth is, the Xbox really is a lot more powerful than the PlayStation 5 and has a much better chipset inside. On top of this, it has full RDNA 2 features. There is a video on my channel, so do check that out. Also velocity architecture, which again, I have a video on my channel if you want to know what that is too. And then on top of this as well, Game Pass, as I've mentioned already, it's just incredible, which I'm also going to be doing a video about Game Pass, because a lot of people actually don't know what games are on Game Pass and what Game Pass even looks like, because they don't currently own an Xbox, but they're considering buying one and want to kind of get an idea of how Game Pass works. So I am doing a video on my channel for that, so do look out for that as well, guys. But yeah, I mean, I love my PlayStation. As I've said, it's a fantastic system. I'm still going to buy every single Sony first-party game that comes to PlayStation, but for games that are on both systems, I am going to be playing all of them on Xbox because they run better. At the end of the day, I'm going to play where the games look best. That's the thing, guys. If the games look best on Xbox, I'm gonna stick with them, and especially with the features like Game Pass, a lot of them are coming to there, like Dirt 5, for example, is already on there, even though it's only just launched. You have fantastic games. All the Bethesda games are gonna come to Game Pass. It's just great. So I hope I've justified my points well here. I am sticking to Xbox now, and I probably always will. They really like to focus their attention on making sure you get to play your old games to the best resolution and best frame rates that you can with the current hardware, which is just great. And also, they had the best looking games and will do for this entire generation. On top of this, they are increasing their studios every single day at this rate. I mean, they now have potential exclusivity with Bethesda games now, and there is a lot more to come too. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my video. Please do like and subscribe if you have enjoyed. I would really appreciate that. I do post every single Monday and Friday at 6 PM UK time, so keep an eye out for more content coming soon. Anyway guys, thank you so much, and goodbye for now.